Hi, I'm Alex. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about some of my most anticipated reads for the summer. So I have like a small list of like queer books that I want to read for Pride Month. I have a small list of Kindle Unlimited options for myself because I always love reading on my Kindle. I've become quite the Kindle girl lately. And then I, of course, have a large stack of paperbacks because why wouldn't I? Okay, I just ran out of memory, but I think we should be good now. I don't own all of the books that I want to read this summer, so there are going to be some that are just pictures. I was trying not to go too out of control with book shopping just to talk about books I want to read. So I'm going to start with the Kindle Unlimited books. So the first book that I want to read in this category is A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime. I've heard so many people talk about this book. It's been on my TBR for a few months, but I think I've read on, Goodreads that it's like a summer vibes kind of book, so I definitely want to read that this summer. The second book that I'm interested in reading is Our Scorching Summer. I have seen this book all over TikTok, and I think these authors keep coming up on my TikTok. I just think that they're really funny, so I really want to read that. It looks like the perfect summer book. Next one, I actually do have a physical copy of as well, but I do think I'll be reading it on my Kindle, and that is Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I probably will inevitably end up reading Things We Hide from the Light as well, just to catch up before the third book in the Not the Mouse series comes out. Is it the summer or the fall? I'm not sure. I don't actually know if this book is summer vibes, but I do want to read it. I've heard everybody talk about it and I feel so left out. So there's that. The next book I want to read is Flawless. I was going to order them as part of my Amazon unboxing haul video, but when I saw that they were on Kindle Unlimited, I was like, I'm just gonna read them there first to see what I think about them. So will I read the whole Silver Spring series? Possibly, but we will start with Flawless at the very least. The next book and the last one that is going to be in this Kindle Unlimited category is Six Summers to Fall. I thought that this sounded sort of like November 9th, but summer, which I think just sounds really good. I saw this one, I think also on TikTok, maybe the author or something posting about it, but it just sounded so good and I immediately added it to this list. I actually had a different book in its place, which was Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton, but I knew that wasn't summery, so the second I heard about this one, I swapped them out immediately. Now, while we're on pictures of books, let's go through the books that I don't have that are on my just general summer TBR. The first one is going to be The Bodyguard. I think this is by Catherine Center. I have heard so many things about this book. It's fake dating where she's the bodyguard and he's the one who needs it. I think he's being stalked or something. I don't entirely know. But needs to go home and see his family and doesn't want to raise any red flags, so they have to fake date. I've seen so many people rate this book 5 stars. It also just has the most incredible cover. I know that I am going to love looking at it on my shelf, so I'm really excited about that. The second one is Mary Jane. I've also seen a lot of people talk about this. It's kind of a coming of age, finding yourself, figuring out who you are kind of a book. So I'm excited about that. And also the cover is literally on the beach, so it could not be more perfect for the summer. The next one is The True Love Experiment. I am a Christina Lauren stan. I love that duet of authors. I think they are incredible. So I definitely want to read The True Love Experiment and also probably something wilder, but we'll see about that one. The next one on here is Never Vacation with Your Ex by by Emily Wibberley and Austin Siegmund Broca. They wrote the roughest draft together and I liked that book a lot. I do also have Do I Know You by them on my summer TBR. This is says when a couple starts to feel like they're married to a stranger, a flirtatious game of pretend becomes the spark they need to reignite their relationship, which I think sounds really good. And then their other book, I believe, is YA, The Never Vacation with Your Ex. Next is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. This is one of my anticipated releases for 2023. It comes out, I think, June 13th. And I'm so excited. If you're watching this now, it's about to come out, so I don't know. At this point in time, I have 3.5 weeks to wait, but I'm so hyped for her new book. I love all of her books. I do also want to read Check and Mate when it comes out, but that's not for my summer TBR. The next one I want to read is Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. I read one coho book, I would say, per quarter, so one every 3 months. So my summer coho book I think is going to be Heartbones. I've heard a lot of people say that this book is incredible, especially to read in the summer, and the cover is gorgeous, so I'm excited about that. And then that is all the books that I don't own yet, which is great. So going through normal books, It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. I feel like everybody's read this and I'm late. Once I finish this, same thing with Things We Hide from the Light. I'll probably end up reading Hook, Line, and Sinker, let's be real. But for now, It Happened One Summer. This is about a spoiled rich girl who has to move to this fishing town and meets a really down-to-earth guy. So sounds kind of similar to When in Rome by Sarah Adams, which I am skipping ahead here, but I do also have that sitting in this pile. This is about a pop star whose car breaks down. No, this is about a pop star who goes to Rome, Kentucky. Her car breaks down in front of this guy Noah's house, and he owns a pie shop and doesn't care that she's famous at all. So I think this one sounds really great. And also on that Sarah Adams train, I have Practice Makes Perfect, which is supposed to be the second book to When in Rome. I think that this cover is beautiful, which is why I bought it, to be completely honest, but I'm excited to read this one as well. Next we have The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. The only book I haven't read by Lynn Painter is Mr. Wrong Number, which I know is her other new adult romance. So that's what this is new adult. I do like her YA books, but I'm excited to read something that's meant for a little bit of an older audience. This is about two people who meet and they decide that they are not right for each other, but they end up having a competition to who can find their true love first. So I think that one sounds really fun and can only guess what's going to happen in the end. The next one on here is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. This is a Reese's Book Club pick, so obviously I was going to pick it up, but I've also heard a million people talk about this, and the tagline on it is 7 days to fall in love, 15 years to forget, and 7 days to get it all back again, which I just think sounds really interesting. So I'm excited to read this one. How many times have I said I'm excited to read books? Ugh, I hate when I do that. The next one is One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which is a book about a woman who her husband supposedly dies and she finally moves on and has a new fiance, and then her husband comes back and she has to try to figure that out, which I feel sounds like the plot of movies I've seen. So I am again excited to read this. I feel I would say Taylor Jenkins Reid never misses, but I wasn't the biggest fan of Malibu Rising, so I can't say that confidently, but I am I'm looking forward to picking this one up because I've heard a lot of people say this is their favorite of her books. Next is Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, and naturally I also have Meet Me at the Lake by her. These aren't supposed to be connected, I don't think, but they just look the same. So Every Summer After, people say, is a mix of, I think The Summer I Turned Pretty and Love in Other Words, which I just think sounds really cute. And Meet Me at the Lake is about these people who meet, but they're both in relationships. It's kind of right person, wrong time. And then they meet again 9 years later and kind of talk about what happened. Next is Loathe to Love You by Ali Hazelwood. This is a series of novellas, and yes, this is just an Allie Hazelwood stan video now. But I do want to read this summer. I like having the option of having some like shorter, quick like romance stories to read, so I wanted to throw this on. Next is Nora Goes Off Script by Annabelle Monaghan. This book is about a woman whose like husband leaves her, and she writes a I think like a movie script about it, and yeah, things happen from there, which I think sounds really fun. Then we have Bad Girl Reputation by Elle Kennedy. I'm going to be completely honest, I have no idea what this is about. I haven't looked at the back at all. I don't even know if it's connected to Good Girl Complex, but people say it is the number 2 book, which the number 3 will be released this summer, I believe. So I wanted to pick this one up and try to get through this first. Next is Set on You by Amy Leah. This is the book that is supposed to go before X's and O's, which is like a big book that people have been talking about. This one's about a fitness influencer, so I thought that sounded interesting. And the second one's about a bookstagrammer, but I did want to pick up the first one first, as you do when you read books that are connected. Next is Family of Liars by E. Lockhart. This is the prequel to We Were Liars, so I thought that book was okay. I don't remember rating it super high. I don't expect this to be a super highly rated book, but I am a little curious about the mystery that still remains. Next, moving in to some of the like queer books I want to read in June for Pride Month. First, I have Red, White, and Royal Blue. This has been sitting on my bookshelf, I think, for over 2 years, which is ridiculous. It was one of the books I bought when I first started getting like super back into reading, when grad school had kind of like slowed down a bit. So I do want to read this. I know this is one of my best friend's like favorite books of all time, and he always yells at me that I need to read it, so I do want to do that. And then I picked up today The Lucky List by Rachel Lippincott, who is one of the authors, the co-authors of 5 Feet Apart. This was recommended to be sort of like Taylor Swift's debut album in this like Eras tour thing they had set up at Barnes, which I thought was really funny. This is about a girl whose relationship was wrecked with her boyfriend, and her dad is selling the house that she grew up in. So he invited his best friend's daughter to help her give her mom's things away after her mom died, and it sounds like she sort of falls in love with her and discovers who she is along the way, so I thought that this sounded really good. And then I also picked up Flamer by Mike Caruto. This book is causing huge controversy in Connecticut right now. There's a town that just banned it. It is a graphic novel, and I have been reading the Heartstopper series, so I was excited to pick up another one of these, but this just got banned in one of the towns in Connecticut, and it's causing huge problems in education here. So I wanted to pick this one up and see what all the fuss was about. The other books that I want to read as part of my like Pride Month reading are Here's to Us, but I own this book. I swear I own this book, and I cannot find it in my TBR cart anywhere, so we'll see, but I do want to read it this summer. And I also want to read Call Me By Your Name. I was having a conversation with my boss about this, about the movie in particular, but I do really want to read the book, and I have no self-control, so I probably will also pick up Heartstopper Volume 3 because I just finished Volume 2. Now, I also have 5 books that I want to do a reread of this summer, and I thought I would save those for the end. So the first one, and I feel like this will probably not be a surprise, is Beach Read. I love this book, and I can swoon over this book all day. Gus will always be one of my like favorite book boyfriends. I just love them so much. Honestly, I'm just like blushing looking at it again. So I do want to pick this one back up and try to annotate it this summer at some point. And then I also want to do a reread of the Summer I Turned Pretty series. mostly because of the TV show. I am sure a bunch of people are doing that. Season 2 is coming out in July, so I want to read at least the first 2, but I'm sure I'll also end up rereading We'll Always Have Summer. I read these for the first time. I literally like picked this one up and had to wait for this one to come out, and then had to wait for this one to come out when I was younger. I love these. I like bought and gifted them to everybody that I know. I gave them to my little during like Big Little in my sorority in college. I have gifted it to one of my best friends. Like, I just love this trilogy, so I'm curious to see how I feel about it now. And then the last book that I have is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I said before, I love Christina Lauren's books. This book is about 2 people who go to a wedding. They're the best man and maid of honor, and they're the only 2 people who don't eat from the seafood bar, and everybody else gets food poisoning, and then they have to go on the honeymoon pretending to be the newlywed couple because they had like won it in a contest, and otherwise they were gonna have to pay like 10 grand for it or something. So fake dating. This is one of the funniest books I've ever read. I laughed out loud so many times reading this. I just love it so much. It's such like a feel-good, like heartwarming, like wonderful read for me. And I heard someone giving it slander on BookTube last week. So I decided that I need to reread it and see, just make sure that I still agree with the hype that I have given it for the last 2 years. But that is going to be it for this summer book recommendations video. I hope book recommendations. No, this is my summer TBR. Hopefully these will be recommendations for you, but I don't know that yet. But thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.